Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. This is Naaman with the DC Camp Branch Great Millstone, back for another video. But first and foremost, call halal Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem Radash, and of course, once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim that are out there on the highways and byways, pushing the truth across the four corners of the earth, not to mention the numerous volume of videos that are posted on a daily to help further get this truth out, spread across the four corners. Try to wake up every remaining, hopefully elect. Alright, because time is very short. Hey, all the things that are happening, the prophecies indicated that would. Alright, hey, popping off the pages. Alright, so what we have here is one of these videos. You know how they always throw out these stats, these crime stats when it comes to Jake. Alright, and we're going to one of these myth-buster episodes, if you will, coin the phrase. And hopefully this is something you can arm yourself with whenever they, because this is something that the late Charlie Kirk, this is what he made his bones about. And it's outright slander and lies. All right, so let's go ahead and roll the video.
Let's go ahead and tackle this 13% are responsible for 50% of the deletions. You guys have heard this narrative all across social media.
So I'm not here this afternoon as a Republican, nor as a Democrat, not even as an American. Because if I was an American, the problem that confronts our people today wouldn't even exist. So I have to stand here today as what I was when I was born, a black man.
So this is my motto, especially on social media. Arguing ignorance versus lack of knowledge. It's perfectly fine not to know the statistics due to ignorance or lack of knowledge. But the problem begins when you choose to defend that ignorance. And that's where I step in. I'll give somebody grace if they just don't know. And they're just parroting a talking point that they heard their favorite content creator say. That's perfectly fine. But if I acknowledge your comment and I give you the facts and information, and you decide to defend your ignorance when I know that you did not do the research, that's when you got to go. So if you are open to learning new information, this is where you're going to get it. If not, you got to go. So this all started after I posted my little 3-minute video. I started getting comments like this.
And this is where you'll get into ignorance versus cognitive dissonance, because some people have been so used to these lies, they really will resist, all right, actual factual information that contradicts the lies that they've been told.
This person said, okay, what percentage of all deletions in the U.S. are committed by black men? That's the statistic that is highlighted. 50% of deletions done by 13% of population. Don't run from that part. This person said, sorry, I can't tell your claim here. Are you refuting the claim that over 50% of deletions are committed by black men, or saying that the claim is true, but it's a small percentage within the larger demographic of black men committing the deletions? I said, did you research your point or listen to someone repeat it and adopt the claim as truth? And I asked to be honest, I did not get a response. And then this was a black man. I'm confused on your math. If there was 19,000 or so black men responsible, a little less than 11K, how you come up with 0.05%? And I said, after I type this, I want you to respond in a timely manner so I don't consider this a troll account. And I said, question.
Hold on.
10,000 percentage of 23.2 million. And he didn't answer. He just said, so your position is 0.05% of black men are doing 55% of America's deletions. That's a problem. I asked him to answer my question. He did not do that. That leads us here. Do black men really commit 50% of deletions? Breaking down.
Prime example. All right, when faced with actual evidence to the contrary, he chose to ignore it and not respond.
A misleading statistic. And this is our table of contents. I'll go ahead and read it to you. We're going to cover the disclaimer, the myth, where the stats come from, clearance rates, interracial reality, age concentration, Black male population, hypothetical scenario. Rape perspective, why the stat is misleading. The real truth, closing message, how to read these statistics, and also I'm going to give you the references. One deletion is too many. Every life lost is a tragedy, and nothing in this breakdown is meant to minimize the seriousness of violence. This analysis is about exposing misuse statistics, not dismissing human loss. So I wanted to make that very clear out of respect for those people who lost their lives. Now, the myth, the claim, black men are 13% of the US population, but commit 50% of deletions. This stat is used to smear black men and create fear, but the reality is far more complicated. And first of all, that 13% is actually false. We actually only represent like 7.5% of the US population because they included all black people. We represent about 14.5% of the population, but we know black girls and black women outnumber black boys and black men. So where the stat comes from, the 50% figure comes from FBI arrest data, not total deletions. That is a key point. Arrest data, not total deletions. Only cases where the offender's race was known. And most people do not cite this when they're talking about the statistic. 40 to 50% of deletions go unsolved every year. So it is arrest.
This is the latest razor developed by Gillette, a super sharp and portable razor. It features
go unsolved every year. So it is arrest versus convictions. 40 to 50% of those deletions go unsolved. This is the most recent report that everybody is using. It's actually not the most recent. I'm going to show you guys. But yeah, 2019 is what everybody uses. And yes, I did my research. I went to Reddit. I don't have an X account, but I downloaded one so I can see all of the information that was coming from mostly white people. And those Reddit threads are absolutely nuts. I had to clear my cache on my phone because there was so much racist stuff on there. It was absolutely crazy. But this is actually the 2024 report. I don't think most people have this because they always cite the 2019 report, but we do have the information for 2024. I will link it in the description once I get done with this live stream so you guys have the most current information. But I'm using the 2019 report because that seems to be the most popular one in these spaces. So this is a 2024 report. It mirrors pretty much the same thing from 2019, just the numbers different, okay? So the clearance rates, about half of all deletions go unsolved. Solved cases are more likely in disadvantaged urban areas. So they tend to solve the cases that's where predominantly black folks live. However, white people, unsolved cases are common in suburban and rural white areas. Opioids, domestic violence, etc. They tend to solve the deletions in urban areas, but for some odd reason, in suburban and rural white areas, they just don't know who did it. This skews the data and inflates black arrest share. Intraracial reality. Most deletions are intraracial. 80% of white victims are deleted by white offenders. 90% of black victims are deleted by black offenders. The 50% claim ignores that deletions overwhelmingly occur within the same race. I heard something crazy. I forgot which channel I was watching. It may have been on X. Black men delete more white people than white people delete white people. That clears that up right there. It's not true. Age concentration, and this is in response, and I'm going to show you guys here in a second. Deletions are concentrated in young men, 18 to 24 years, highest rates, 25 to 34 years, second highest. Together, 70% of offenders are under 35. So comparing 13% of population versus 50% of deletions is misleading because it ignores that only a subset, young men, are at highest risk. And this was in response to this comment. I usually like your work, but this video is deceptive. For example, of the 23 million black men, how many are over 50 and under 15. It is much less than 23 million. No one is scared of an old black man being violent, nor of a 10-year-old black boy being violent. The violence comes from the smaller number of black men. The black men in this age group are the ones who are responsible for 42% of cop deleters. I don't know what he was talking about. So essentially, what he's saying is, I can't use the 23.2 million black men and boys because it's a smaller percentage. But on every video, every comment, I've never heard anybody separate them. I've never heard they say black men commit 50% of the deletions. That's all I've heard. That's the first time, but I addressed it for his ass. I got you. Black male population, 18 to 34. Based on census counts, black men aged 18 to 34, 6.1 million. Total black men, 23.2 million. Of course, I did the side-by-side comparison. Hypothetical scenario. If black men committed all 19,800 deletions in the U.S. in a year, among all black men, that would be 0.09%. Among black men 18 to 34, that will be 0.32%. That means between 99.7 and 99.9% of black men did not commit a deletion. It's still less than 1%. And I've never heard anybody mention the fact that it's not all black men. They only say black men commit 50% of the years. All right? So 97 to 99% of y'all in the chat have not committed a deletion. Shocker, right? Be honest with me. Let me know so I can look at the video if you've ever heard people say, wait, hold on. Before we talk about the black male deletion rates, let's be clear. 99.7 to 99.9% don't commit deletions. So when we discuss this, we're only talking about a minuscule subset of black men. Nobody, ever. I've watched at least 10 to 12 videos and nobody ever made that point. Rate perspective.
Of course not.
Equivalent rates, 325 per 100,000 black men 18 to 34 if they committed all deletions, compared to the national deletion rate of 6 to 7 per 100,000 overall. Even under this false scenario, less than 1/3 of 1%, 0.32% of young black men. And that is from 18 to 34. So no matter how you spin it, you can remove some age groups, you can include some age groups. The majority of black men are not inherently violent. Why the stat is misleading? Uses arrests, not convictions. Arrests are not convictions. Ignores unsolved cases, which just so happen to be more solved in urban areas and not solved in suburban or those white areas. Over-policing inflates arrest data. And it's not to include that black men have the most exonerations. I think it's 55% of deletion rates, black men are exonerated, which leads the pack. And it hides intraracial patterns. I just addressed that. Treats all 13% of the population as if they are equally responsible, which is crazy.
This life hack will forever change how you trim your body hair. Most trimmers are slow and leave hair all over the sink. By the time
they are equally responsible, which is crazy. And then the real truth, context matters. Most deletions happen within the same race. Only a tiny fraction of black men commit deletions. The 50% stat is a distorted talking point, not reality. It is propaganda. It is a white supremacist talking point. Don't fall for the weaponized stats. Again, one deletion is too many and every loss is a tragedy. But it's wrong to smear an entire community with misleading numbers. The truth, 99.7% between 99% of black men have never committed deletions. Black men deserve to be seen for who they are, not distorted statistics weaponized against them. Now I'm gonna give you guys a little education on how to read the stats. So it's important context, when reading crime data. Arrests are not convictions. Not all cases are solved. Again, 40 to 50% unsolved. Interracial patterns dominate. Population subsets matter. 18 to 34 drives the most deletions. The takeaway, these stats require context. Without it, they can be weaponized into false narratives,
There you go.
which is what you see on social media. Could have summed this up in a paragraph, but I'm going to give it to you guys right here. Where the 50% figure originated. In 2019, the FBI reported about 16,245 homicide offenders nationwide. However, the offender's race was only known in 12,000 cases. Of those, 53.7% were reported as black and 42% as white. This is where detractors claim black people commit 50% of the deletions. But the truth is a misrepresentation because it only reflects solved cases with race reported, not all deletions. Nearly half of cases go unsolved, and these numbers are based on arrests and reports, not convictions. The 50% figure is not representative of all deletions in the U.S., but rather a partial data set that inflates the share attributed to black men. Pretty much going over everything that I just mentioned. I just gave you guys a little table. And this is the summary of all the stuff that we went over. I will clip this up so you guys can have it for yourselves. And then these are all the references that I use from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which is the most parroted PDF that I see people sharing. Did I clear everything up? I was working, man. I was working.
Very good. There you go. So once again, let me get some scriptures here. This is all done on purpose. This is this slick, silver-tongued piece of shit. All right, Edomite, so-called white man. Let's go to Psalm 50. Start at 16. All right. It says, "But unto the wicked the Most High said, What hast thou to do to declare my statutes, which he has done?" All right. He has said and has taken, wrapped himself in our identity. All right. At least a subset of them. Directly, the others, because of their complexion, at least what they think is their complexion, what they attributed as their complexion, say that they are Christians. All right. And you have one subset of them using the majority of the so-called Christians as cover. All right. And it's all coming to a head now. All right. Because all the while, the so-called JOOs have been using the Christians, and secretly, may not be such a secret now, because more and more it's coming out, they really despise these people. There have been incidents of so-called Christians going over there to Jerusalem, Israel in general, and being spat on, rocks thrown at them. They really hate them. They've used their delusion against them. All right. But unto the wicked the Most High said, What hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing thou hatest instruction, and castest my words behind thee? An Edomite is an Edomite. It doesn't matter if he professes to be the chosen, all right, which there's 11 more tribes besides the one he claims, or he calls himself a Christian. All right, they're all Edom. It says, "Seeing thou hatest instruction and castest my words behind thee," and there's no better example of that than their court system. They'll have you raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible. Do you solemnly swear to tell the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you. You know, that's swearing. You're not supposed to do that. But after all that, they put the Bible to the side and they bring out their rules and regulations. All right, it's supposed to supersede what they just read. But they just had you, you know. It's wild. All right, I'm gonna skip on down to 19. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit, slander. All right. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son. All right. And that links up with, we'll shut it down with this. And this is prophecy. All right. Let's see. This is Revelation 12 and 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our God and the power of his Son, Hamashiach Yahushua. For the accuser of our brethren, which is Edom, is cast down. This is what this whole chapter is about when it talks about, when we go on up here, the woman, which is Israel, and the dragon, which is Esau, Edom. It's not talking about actual spiritual, the angel there, which everybody calls Lucifer. Right? It's not talking about that. It's talking about a people. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And this is what he's about. All right, when you go to accuse, let's see. Let's go down here. Accuse at Strong's G 2723. Categoria. Oh, categorio. What does that sound like? Categorize, right? Category. To be a plaintiff, that is, to charge with some offense. Accuse, object. So this is the role he's been playing. Now these, look what they're doing here. Well, how could they be your people? Look at them. All the while he's behind it. That's why Isaiah 14 tells you. Let's get it. 14 verses 1 and 2. But specifically in verse 1, it tells you, it says the restoration of Jacob, Israel. For the Most High Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, not the Balfour Declaration. All right. And the strangers shall be joined with them. Those strangers are Israelite foreigners. They are Israelites still. All right. But they were scattered abroad. All right. And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Most High for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So it's going to be a total it's going to be a trading of places. All right. Revelation 13, verse 10. All right. Let's go one chapter. Oops. Went too far there. One chapter over. And what does it say for us? Oops. I meant Revelation. I forgot I switched. It's like, all right. Revelation 13 and 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. And they're starting this shit up again with the hangings, for those of you that weren't aware. All right. Down in Mississippi, they found at least one. I think it was 2 overall. I don't know if they were both in Mississippi or not, but I know at least one off of a campus, college campus down there. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. This is what we, like it says, this is what we have to endure for this time that we're, because, hey, we're still presently under the curses. All right, but we're seeing those curses being transferred to our enemy per Deuteronomy 30 and 7. And it's a beautiful thing to live this long, as Sirach 25 and 7 tells you. All right, see the downfall of our enemy, and this is what's happening. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All the celestial events that are happening, these signs and wonders. Yeah, it's that time. And they're shitting their pants, so to speak. It's beautiful to see that too. Hey, with that, once again, I hope whoever views this has been edified. That's what we do here at Great Millstone. And once again, I have to remind you to remain circumspect, especially now, all right? Because these shootings up in Pennsylvania, you got 3 police that were killed outright. I think 2 more in critical condition. And expect more than that. That's 2nd Ezra 15th chapter. That's sedition. All right, it's It's going to be more of that. So with that, shalom.